Welcome, and thank you for joining this journey of growth, clarity, and transformation. You are about to experience a powerful guide designed to help you take charge of your life by starting exactly where you are, no matter your circumstances. This is Start Where You Are. Work with what you have. Audiobook, written and published by ReadFlow Audiobooks. So often in life, people wait for the perfect moment, the right resources, or the ideal circumstances before they take action. But the truth is this: the perfect moment rarely comes. The power to change your life lies not in what you are waiting for, but in what you are willing to do with what you already have. This audiobook will serve as a step-by-step companion to help you identify your strengths, shift your mindset, and begin building momentum from your current position. You'll learn how to transform obstacles into opportunities, cultivate resilience, and maximize the resources at your disposal, no matter how limited they may seem right now. Whether you're striving to achieve personal growth, improve your mindset, or create new opportunities in your life, this journey will remind you of an essential truth: you already have everything you need to begin. Every small step you take today plants the seeds for the life you desire tomorrow. Settle in, open your mind, and prepare yourself. Together we will uncover the strategies, insights, and inspiration you need to stop waiting, start moving, and create real change. Let's begin this powerful journey, starting exactly where you are and working with what you have. Chapter 1. The Power of Starting Where You Are. When most people think about changing their lives, they imagine a grand future where all the pieces are already in place. The money, the confidence, the opportunities, the connection. They tell themselves they'll begin once they have more time, more skills, or better circumstances. This way of thinking sounds logical, but in truth it becomes one of the greatest traps of stagnation. The idea that you must first get ready before starting keeps millions of people from ever moving forward. But here's the reality: life transformation doesn't begin with perfect conditions. It begins with a choice. That choice is available to you right now, at this very moment. No matter what your situation looks like, whether you feel underqualified, underprepared, or even overwhelmed, you already possess enough to begin. The truth is, momentum is born not from waiting, but from doing. Why people hesitate to start? We must first understand the hidden patterns that hold people back. Most hesitation stems from fear. Fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, or fear of wasting time. This fear leads people to constantly compare themselves with others who seem further ahead, which only reinforces feelings of inadequacy. They wait for confidence, not realizing that confidence is built by action. Another reason people hesitate is because they overestimate what's required to begin. They believe they need all the answers, the perfect plan, or complete clarity before taking their first step. But think about it. If clarity only comes after walking the path, how can you expect to have it at the very start? The truth is, no one who ever achieved greatness started with a full map. They started with courage, and the map revealed itself along the way. Reframing: starting small. When you hear the phrase "start where you are," you might think it sounds too simple, maybe even discouraging. But in reality, it's one of the most powerful principles of growth. Starting small is not a sign of weakness. It is the seed of strength. Every skyscraper begins with a foundation. Every book begins with a single sentence. A marathon begins with one step. To dismiss your current position as not enough is to miss the greatest opportunity of all: the ability to grow from exactly where you stand. Instead of saying, "I don't have enough to start," ask, "What can I do right now with what I have?" That shift in mindset is the difference between staying stuck for years and building unstoppable momentum. The myth of the perfect time. Let's break another lie. There will never be a perfect time. Waiting for everything to align is like waiting for the ocean to be still before learning to swim. Life is always moving, unpredictable, and filled with challenges. If you wait for calm waters, you'll never enter. The most successful individuals are not those who had perfect timing or resources. They are those who acted in imperfect conditions. They started scared. They started unprepared. They started messy. And through the process they learned, adapted, and grew into the person who could handle greater responsibilities. Action over perfection. If you take nothing else from this chapter, take this truth: action is always greater than perfection. A poorly executed step forward will always beat a perfect idea that lives only in your mind. Think of it like climbing a staircase. If you stand at the bottom waiting until you've figured out exactly how many steps there are, how long it will take, and what's waiting at the top, you'll never begin. But if you lift your foot and take the first step, you'll not only move upward, you'll also gain a better perspective of what's ahead. Practical steps to start where you are. Assess your current resources. Write down everything you already have access to: skills, knowledge, relationships, tools, and opportunities. You'll likely discover that you have more than you think. Identify the smallest action you can take today. Momentum is not built by massive leaps, but by consistent steps. If your goal is to write, commit to writing 1 page. If your dream is fitness, start with a 10-minute walk. Small actions compound over time. Detach from outcomes at the beginning. The first step isn't about achieving the end goal, it's about building the habit of action. Release the pressure to get it right, and focus instead on getting it started. Reframe fear as fuel. Instead of avoiding fear, recognize it as proof that you're moving toward growth. Fear signals that you're stepping outside your comfort zone. Use it as a compass, not a barrier. Adopt the mindset of a learner. Starting where you are doesn't mean having everything figured out. It means being open to learning along the way. Every misstep is feedback. Every challenge is training. Real-world examples. Think of the entrepreneur who began with a single product in their garage and grew into a global brand, or the writer who scribbled ideas in the margins of notebooks before becoming a best-selling author. These stories are not fairy tales. They are proof that greatness is born from humble beginnings. Your starting point may not look impressive right now, but it is enough. History shows that those who begin with what they have eventually create more than they ever imagined. The compounding effect of starting now. When you take one small action today, you not only move closer to your goal, you also plant a seed of belief in yourself. Each time you honor that belief with consistent action, your confidence compounds. Over time, this momentum becomes unstoppable. Waiting, on the other hand, compounds in the opposite direction. Days of hesitation turn into months, then years. By waiting for the perfect moment, people often lose the very opportunity they were hoping for. Closing thought for Chapter 1. Starting where you are is not just advice, it's a declaration. It says, I refuse to let excuses, fear, or circumstances define my progress. I will work with what I have, and I will create more as I go. When you embrace this mindset, you stop wishing for different conditions, and instead unlock the power within your current ones. That's when life begins to shift, not someday, but today. So pause for a moment, look at your life. What can you start now? Don't wait until everything is perfect, because you already hold the most important resource, the ability to take action today. Chapter 2. Self-belief and the power of identity and perseverance. Starting where you are is the first courageous step, but sustaining progress requires more than movement. It requires belief. Self-belief is the engine of perseverance, and identity is the compass that directs it. Together, they form the foundation for any meaningful transformation. Without them, even the strongest strategies collapse under pressure. With them, even the most difficult obstacles become stepping stones. Many people misunderstand perseverance. They think it's only about sheer willpower, gritting your teeth, pushing harder, refusing to stop. While grit matters, it isn't sustainable by itself. At some point, fatigue sets in, distractions multiply, and doubts creep in. What keeps you going then is not just the energy of the moment, but the deeper conviction that this is who I am. Identity, not motivation, sustains perseverance. Why self-belief is more than confidence. Confidence is situational. You may feel confident in one area of life and uncertain in another. Self-belief runs deeper. It's not about believing you can handle every challenge instantly. It's about believing you can grow into the person who will handle it. Self-belief says, I may not know everything now, but I trust myself to learn, adapt, and persist. That mindset transforms every setback into training instead of defeat. Without this belief, even small failures feel final. With it, failure becomes feedback. Consider this. Every extraordinary achiever you admire started with self-belief. They didn't wait for the world to validate them first. They carried a conviction, sometimes fragile at first, that they had what it took or could become what it took to succeed. That inner foundation allowed them to persevere long enough to prove themselves right. Identity, the silent driver of behavior. Your identity is the story you tell yourself about who you are. It's invisible to others, but it controls everything you do. If you believe, "I'm someone who always quits," you will unconsciously act in ways that confirm that belief. But if you adopt the identity, "I am someone who finishes what I start," you will push through barriers simply to remain consistent with that self-image. Human beings are wired to act in alignment with who they believe themselves to be. This is why identity is more powerful than willpower. Willpower gets exhausted, but identity endures. Take health as an example. If you see yourself as someone who struggles with fitness, every workout will feel like a fight against your nature. But if you adopt the identity of "I am an athlete in training," exercising becomes an expression of who you are. Even on tough days, the pull to remain aligned with your identity keeps you consistent. How self-belief and identity work together. Think of self-belief as the fuel and identity as the vehicle. Belief gives you the energy to act. Identity ensures you're moving in the right direction and staying on the path. Without belief, you won't start. Without identity, you won't sustain. This is why so many people set goals in January only to abandon them by February. They relied on motivation without reshaping their identity. They said, "I want to lose weight," but never shifted to "I am someone who takes care of my health." The goal was external, but the identity remained unchanged. And when life got difficult, the old identity overpowered the new resolution, building self-belief, practical pathways. But failure is not who you are. It is something that happened. Look back at your life and identify moments where you persevered, even in small ways. Perhaps you got through school despite challenges, overcame a tough season, or rebuilt after loss. These are not random events. They are proof that perseverance already lives within you. Use them as evidence to fuel your belief. Anchor in micro wins. Self-belief grows like compound interest. Each time you keep a small promise to yourself, waking up when you said you would, finishing a task you planned, choosing discipline over distraction, you reinforce the identity of someone who follows through. These wins accumulate and silently reshape how you see yourself. Embody identity through language. Words matter. Stop saying "I'm trying to be disciplined." Instead, say, "I am disciplined." Stop saying, "I want to be confident." Say, "I am confident and growing stronger daily." This isn't about pretending. It's about speaking the identity you are choosing until it feels natural. Visualize the future self. Every day, close your eyes and imagine the version of you who perseveres without question. See how they walk, talk, and respond to setbacks. The more vividly you see that person, the more your subconscious mind begins to accept that identity as real. And when challenges arise, your actions begin to align with that vision. Guard your environment. Identity doesn't grow in isolation. The people you surround yourself with either validate your old story or reinforce your new one. Spend time with individuals who embody perseverance. Their examples and energy will strengthen your own belief. Perseverance as identity training. Every trial you face is more than an obstacle. It's an opportunity to strengthen your identity. When you endure hardship, you're not only solving a problem, you're training yourself to see, "I am someone who endures." When you face setbacks, you're proving, "I am someone who adapts and keeps moving." This is why many people who have overcome immense adversity often radiate unshakable confidence. Their identity was forged in struggle. Each time life tested them, they reinforced the belief that nothing could break them. You have the same opportunity with every challenge you encounter. The loop of identity and action. This creates a loop. You act in alignment with your chosen identity. Your action creates results, even small ones. Those results strengthen your belief. Stronger belief drives more action. Over time, this loop creates unstoppable momentum. The more you see yourself as someone who never gives up, the less you even consider quitting an option. Practical exercise. Identity alignment plan. Take a piece of paper and divide it into 2 columns. In the first column, write your old limiting identity statements, like, I push through difficulty, I am disciplined and consistent. Read these new declarations daily. Over time, your brain will begin to filter your actions through these identities, and your perseverance will strengthen automatically. Real-life proof. The power of identity shift. Think about athletes who overcome devastating injuries to return stronger than ever. What fuels them isn't just physical recovery. It's the identity of being a competitor. Even when their bodies were weak, their identity refused to let them quit. Or consider entrepreneurs who fail multiple times before succeeding. What sets them apart is not luck. It's their identity as builders and creators. Quitting simply doesn't fit their self-image. These examples show that identity is stronger than circumstance. If you adopt the right identity, perseverance becomes inevitable. Closing reflection for Chapter 2. Self-belief is the soil, identity is the root, and perseverance is the tree that grows. Without belief, the soil is barren. Without identity, the root is weak. But when you nurture both, the tree of perseverance grows tall and unshakable, weathering every storm. Your task is not only to set goals or take action, it is to decide who you are becoming. Choose the identity of someone who never quit. Pick it, act it, and live it until it becomes your reality. When you believe in yourself and align your identity with perseverance, you stop asking, can I make it? And start declaring, this is who I am. And when perseverance becomes who you are, transformation is no longer a question of if, it becomes a matter of when. Chapter 3. Embracing struggle and turning obstacles into fuel for growth. You've begun to understand the power of self-belief and the role of identity in perseverance. But belief and identity are not tooted in calm seas, they are tested in storms. Struggle is where character hardens. Obstacles are where identity is forged. Without struggle, perseverance has no meaning. Without obstacles, growth is an empty word. Yet most people fear struggle. They see difficulty as punishment, as a sign that something is wrong, as proof they are not good enough. But here is the truth. Struggle is not the enemy of progress. It is the process of progress. Every obstacle in your path is raw material waiting to be transformed into fuel. The question is not, how can I avoid struggle? The real question is, how can I use struggle to rise higher? Why struggle is necessary for growth. Imagine lifting weights in a gym. If the bar is too light, your muscles never grow. It's only when the weight challenges you, when your muscles tremble and burn, that growth begins. Struggle tears the fibers so they can rebuild stronger. Life works the same way. Without challenge, your inner strength remains dormant. Struggle is the resistance that builds resilience. Every difficulty you face stretches your capacity, forcing you to discover strength you didn't know you had. This is why avoiding struggle weakens you. When you run from discomfort, you rob yourself of the very opportunities that would have made you strong. But when you lean into difficulty, you transform pain into power. Reframing obstacles, from barrier to teacher. An obstacle isn't just a wall, it's a teacher. Struggle doesn't arrive to stop you. It arrives to train you. Think of an obstacle like fire. Left uncontrolled, fire burns and destroys. But harnessed correctly, fire cooks food, forges steel, and fuels engines. In the same way, struggle can either consume you or refine you. The choice is yours. Reframing obstacles begins with a single mental shift. Stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? Lost a job? Perhaps it's teaching you adaptability and pushing you toward your true calling. Faced rejection? Maybe it's refining your skills, thickening your skin, and preparing you for greater opportunities. Hit rock bottom. Maybe it's giving you a foundation so solid that you'll never crumble again. The obstacle is not the end of your journey. It is the beginning of your evolution. Struggle is a mirror of identity. Remember the loop from chapter 2. Identity fuels perseverance, and perseverance reinforces identity. Struggle is the mirror that reveals whether your chosen identity is real. If you've declared "I am someone who never quits," struggle will test that declaration. Each obstacle asks, do you truly believe this, or are you only saying it? Passing the test reinforces the identity until it becomes unshakable. This is why obstacles should not discourage you. They are invitations to solidify your self-belief and identity. Without them, your growth would remain unproved. Practical shifts for turning obstacles into fuel, and the meaning you attach determines whether you shrink or grow. Break struggle into training units. Instead of seeing a massive obstacle as one unbearable burden, break it into parts. Just like in a gym, you don't lift 500 pounds at once. You build strength gradually. Ask yourself, what is the first small step I can take today to face this challenge? Extract lessons immediately. Write down, what did I learn from this struggle today? Even small lessons create momentum. Maybe you learned patience. Maybe you learned creativity under pressure. Each lesson is a victory. Anchor struggle to identity. Every time you face difficulty, remind yourself, this is proof that I am strong. Instead of doubting yourself, use struggle as evidence of your resilience. Shift from outcome to growth focus. Don't just ask, did I succeed? Ask, did I grow? Even if the outcome isn't what you hoped for, growth is still progress. When asked about his failures, he reframed them. I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. He turned obstacles into data, and that perspective fueled innovation. J.K. Rowling was rejected by multiple publishers before Harry Potter was finally accepted. If she had seen rejection as a dead end, millions of readers would have lost a story that defined a generation. She saw rejection as a stepping stone, not a stop sign. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison. For most, this would have been a life destroyed. For Mandela, it became the furnace that forged his leadership. When he walked free, he wasn't bitter. He was unbreakable. These examples prove that struggle, when embraced, doesn't destroy, it transforms. The paradox of struggle. The gift hidden in pain. Every obstacle you face feels heavy, but inside it is a hidden gift. The challenge itself is not the gift. The growth it forces is. Think of it like climbing a mountain. The mountain doesn't shrink to make your climb easier, but when you reach the top, the view expands your perspective forever. The gift of struggle is not comfort, it's capacity. When you embrace struggle, you stop asking life to be easier. Instead, you become stronger. And once you are stronger, no obstacle has the same power to break you again. Practical exercise. Struggle transformation journal. For the next 30 days, every time you face an obstacle, write down 3 things. The struggle. Describe what happened. The lesson. What is this teaching me? The identity. Who am I becoming through? Over time, you'll notice a shift. Instead of seeing problems as threats, you'll begin to see them as training partners. Each one is an invitation to rise. When you embrace struggle, you strip it of its power to paralyze you. You stop being the victim of circumstances and become the architect of growth. Struggle becomes your gym, your teacher, Remember this truth. What you call difficulty today will one day be the reason for your strength. Every obstacle can either break you down or build you up. The choice is not in the obstacle, it is in you. Choose to grow. Choose to rise. Choose to turn every struggle into fuel. Because when you embrace struggle, you don't just survive hardship. You are transformed by it. And in that transformation, perseverance becomes unstoppable. Chapter 4. Discipline, consistency, and building unstoppable habits. You've learned that struggle is not your enemy, but your forge. Struggle shapes you, tests you, and builds resilience. Yet ReadFlow alone is not enough. It's possible to endure hardship and still remain stuck if you lack one critical element: discipline. Discipline is the bridge between your identity and your destiny. It is the daily decision to align your actions with your vision, no matter how you feel. Struggle gives you the test. Discipline ensures you pass it again and again. Why discipline is the core of transformation. Motivation may start the journey, but it cannot sustain it. Motivation is fleeting. Strong today, gone tomorrow. Discipline, however, is steady. It's not dependent on moods, weather, or circumstance. Discipline is choice in action. Think about it. Anyone can show up on their best days. Discipline shows up on the worst, when fatigue sets in, when excuses feel louder than your goals, when progress seems invisible. Discipline is the anchor that keeps you from drifting back into mediocrity. If struggle is the fire, discipline is the hammer, shaping the molten metal of your life into something sharp and strong. Without discipline, your potential remains raw and unused. Consistency is discipline multiplied by time. Imagine depositing a small sum into a savings account every day. At first it looks like nothing, but with time and compound interest, that small habit turns into wealth. Success works the same way. Small disciplined actions repeated daily compound into unstoppable results. Reading for 20 minutes a day becomes thousands of hours of knowledge in a decade. Exercising consistently builds a body that can endure, not just perform. Writing a single page every morning produces a book before you realize it. Consistency may feel ordinary in the moment, but it produces extraordinary outcomes over time. Habits reduce the need for constant decision-making. Once a habit is ingrained, discipline flows automatically. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't debate it. You don't postpone it. You don't bargain with yourself. You simply do it. That's the power of habit. It makes essential actions automatic. To build unstoppable habits, it starts small. Anchor a new habit to something you already do. For example, meditate for 2 minutes right after brushing your teeth. Make it easy. Remove friction. If you want to work out, lay out your clothes the night before. Reward progress. Celebrate small wins to reinforce the behavior. Protect the chain. Don't break the streak. Even on hard days, do something, even if it's small, to keep the habit alive. Habits allow you to leverage discipline without constantly fighting resistance. The relationship between identity and discipline. Your habits and your discipline must align with your identity. If you see yourself as disciplined, you will naturally act in disciplined way. If you tell yourself, I'm inconsistent, I'm lazy, your behavior will reflect that. This is why identity must always lead. You don't just force discipline, you embody it. You begin to see yourself as someone who always keeps promises to yourself. And with that identity, the idea of breaking discipline feels unnatural. Building unstoppable habits in practice. The 2-minute rule. If a habit takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. This rewires your brain to prioritize action over procrastination. The power of tracking. Track your habits on paper or digitally. The act of checking a box creates accountability and momentum. Plan for resistance. Discipline isn't built in moments of ease, but in moments of friction. Anticipate obstacles and create backup plans. For example, if you can't go to the gym, do bodyweight exercises at home. The rule of never twice. The key is to never miss twice in a row. Missing once is human. Missing twice is the beginning of inconsistency. Discipline as freedom. Many people resist discipline because they associate it with restriction. But discipline is not a cage. It is freedom. The disciplined writer has the freedom of completed books. The disciplined athlete has the freedom of a capable body. The disciplined thinker has the freedom of clarity and wisdom. Undisciplined living feels free in the short term, but leads to chains in the long term. Chains of regret, chains of lost potential, chains of wasted time. True freedom is born from disciplined action. Real-life proof of discipline and consistency. Kobe Bryant was famous for waking up at 4 a.m. to train. While others relied on talent, Kobe multiplied his effort through discipline and consistency. That edge became legendary. Maya Angelou wrote every day whether inspiration came or not. Her discipline produced timeless works of art. Benjamin Franklin lived by a daily schedule that prioritized virtue, discipline, and productivity. His consistent habits made him not just successful in one area, but across science, politics, and philosophy. These examples prove that talent without discipline is wasted. But even ordinary talent, fueled by extraordinary discipline, can produce great practical exercise. The discipline contract. For the next week, write a personal contract with yourself. Choose one habit that matters most to your future self. Write, I commit to doing habit every day for the next 7 days. I will not negotiate with myself. I will not break this promise. I am a disciplined person, and this is proof. Sign it. Post it somewhere visible. Honor it. At the end of the week, reflect on how it feels to keep promises to yourself. Closing reflection for Chapter 4. Struggle builds you, but discipline sustains you. Discipline keeps you aligned when motivation fades. Consistency multiplies discipline into unstoppable momentum, and habits ingrain discipline until it becomes your nature. The disciplined person doesn't wonder whether they'll achieve their goals. They simply know it's only a matter of time, because consistency plus time equals results. Always, as you move forward, remember this truth. Discipline is not punishment. It is self-respect. Every act of discipline is a declaration. I believe in myself enough to do the work, even when it's hard. When you embrace discipline, consistency and habits, you stop chasing progress. You become progress. You transform from someone who wishes into someone who works, from someone who hopes into someone who executes. Chapter 5. Resilience and staying calm under pressure. Discipline and consistency give you structure, but life will always test that structure. No matter how prepared you are, moments will come that push you to your limits. Pressure will build, uncertainty will rise, and obstacles will attempt to shake your resolve. In those moments, your success depends on a single quality: resilience. Resilience is more than survival. It's the ability to remain calm, adapt, and push forward when the weight of life tries to crush you. It is the quiet strength that steadies your mind in chaos and keeps you grounded when storms rage around you. Without resilience, discipline cracks under stress. With resilience, you remain unshakable. The nature of pressure. Pressure reveals what's inside you. Just as heat reveals the strength of metal, pressure reveals the strength of your character. Some collapse, some endure, and others transform pressure into fuel. It is important to understand that pressure is not inherently negative. Pressure creates diamonds. Pressure sharpens the blade. Pressure pushes potential into performance. What destroys one person empowers another, not because of the situation itself, but because of their response. To stay calm under pressure, you must train your mind to view stress, not as an enemy, but as an invitation. Every challenge whispers, here is your chance to rise. Why resilience matters. Resilience does 3 powerful things. It protects your focus. Without resilience, stress scatters your attention and weakens your discipline. Resilience allows you to stay centered. It builds long-term endurance. Success is not about intensity alone. It's about duration. Resilience aids you to keep going when others quit. It shapes your identity. Every time you rise from a setback, you reinforce the belief, I am unbreakable. I can handle more than I thought. This identity fuels courage for future challenges. Instead of thinking, this is impossible, say, this is a chance to grow stronger. Remember, in pressure-filled moments, the one who remains calm is the one who leads. Breathing deeply resets the nervous system. Try this. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4. Exhale for 6. Repeat until your mind slows. The pause principle. In high-stakes situations, pause before reacting. A few seconds of silence allows clarity to replace impulse. Calmness is rarely found in rushing. Shift from emotion to execution. Ask, what is the next best step I can take right now? This grounds you in action instead of fear. Visualize endurance. Picture yourself on the other side of the struggle. Calm, composed and victorious. Visualization builds inner certainty before reality catches up. The role of self-talk. Your inner voice determines your outer resilience. When pressure mounts, pay attention to your self-talk. Is it panicked or powerful? Is it breaking you down or building you up? Resilient self-talk sounds like this. This situation will pass. I have handled challenges before. I will handle this too. Every phrase is an anchor. Words steady the mind. Resilience in action. Stories of calm under pressure. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison, yet he emerged calm, focused and ready to lead a nation. His resilience turned captivity into preparation. Serena Williams faced high-pressure moments throughout her career, but her composure under stress became her defining edge. She turned pressure into precision. Winston Churchill led Britain through the darkest days of World War II. His calm strength in moments of crisis gave millions the courage to endure. Each of these leaders proves that resilience under pressure is not about avoiding fear. It's about mastering it. Building daily resilience habits. Resilience is not only forged in crisis, it is built in daily habits. Cold exposure or physical challenge. Pushing your body through discomfort trains your mind to remain calm in stress. Journaling. Writing about setbacks helps you process emotions and extract lessons instead of drowning in them. Gratitude practice. Gratitude grounds you in perspective. Even in stress, you can find reasons to stay calm. Sleep and recovery. A resilient mind needs a resilient body. Rest strengthens emotional regulation. Over time, this creates a new identity. You stop seeing yourself as fragile and start seeing yourself as resilient, capable, and steady. And that identity shapes every choice you make moving forward. Practical exercise. The calm under pressure drill. The next time you feel stress rising, do this 3-step exercise. Act small. Take one immediate step forward, no matter how small. Action replaces anxiety. Repeat this often until calmness becomes your default. Closing reflection for Chapter 5. Resilience is not about being unshaken. It is about being unbreakable. It is about bending without snapping. About standing tall when storms try to topple you. Calm under pressure is not a gift. It is a skill. And like all skills, it is built through practice. When you master resilience, you don't just survive difficulties. You use them as training grounds. Every challenge becomes proof of your strength. Every storm becomes another reminder that you are stronger than circumstance. Pressure does not define you, your response does. And when your response is calm, steady and resilient, nothing can stop your progress. Chapter 6. Mastering self-control and delayed gratification. Resilience allows you to endure pressure, but endurance without direction can scatter your energy. To truly transform your life, you must learn to master self-control, the ability to direct your impulses, manage your desires, and act according to your long-term vision rather than your short-term emotions. Self-control is not about restriction for its own sake. It is about alignment. It is about ensuring that your actions today are consistent with the future you want to live tomorrow. Without self-control, even the strongest vision collapses under the weight of momentary temptation. With self-control, even the smallest steps compound into extraordinary success. And at the heart of self-control lies one timeless principle: delayed gratification. The power of delayed gratification. Delayed gratification is the art of choosing later rewards over immediate pleasures. It is saying no to comfort now so you can say yes to freedom later. It is refusing the short-term shortcut so you can enjoy the long-term harvest. One of the most famous demonstrations of this principle was the Stanford marshmallow experiment. Children were given a marshmallow and told they could eat it immediately or wait and receive 2 marshmallows later. Decades later, researchers found that those who waited had better life outcomes, higher academic performance, healthier relationships, and greater career success. The lesson is clear. Your future depends on your ability to delay gratification. Every moment of choice asks, do I serve the future me or do I serve the impulse of now? Why self-control feels hard? Self-control feels like a battle because it often pits emotion against logic. Your brain seeks quick rewards. It is wired for survival. But your higher self seeks lasting fulfillment. When you lack self-control, the lower impulses win, and you trade your potential for temporary relief. Think about these examples: eating junk food instead of preparing a nourishing meal, spending impulsively instead of saving and investing, scrolling endlessly on social media instead of working on your craft. Each small choice shapes your destiny, and the danger lies not in one decision, but in repeated surrender to impulse. The freedom in self-control. Many see self-control as loss, but it is in fact freedom. When you master your impulses, you free yourself from addiction to moods, cravings and distractions. You gain the freedom to direct your energy where it matters most. Self-control in finances brings the freedom of financial independence. Self-control in health brings the freedom of vitality and strength. Self-control in time brings the freedom to live intention. True freedom is not doing whatever you want in the moment. It is doing what aligns with your vision, even when it's difficult. Practical steps to strengthen self-control. Clarity of vision. Self-control becomes easier when you know exactly what you're working toward. Write down your goals. Make them visible. Each act of discipline then becomes an act of loyalty to that vision. If you want to eat healthier, keep nourishing foods visible and remove junk from your home. Practice micro-delays. Train your brain by delaying small pleasures. If you crave sugar, wait 15 minutes before indulging. If you want to check your phone, wait 5 minutes. Over time, these small delays build the muscle of self-control. Anchor rewards to effort. Instead of avoiding pleasure altogether, anchor it to progress. For example, enjoy a show only after finishing your day's work. This turns gratification into motivation, not distraction. Build willpower through routine. Self-control weakens when you rely on willpower alone. Instead, create routines that reduce decision fatigue. The fewer choices you have to make, the more energy you conserve for what truly matters. The role of environment. Your environment either strengthens or sabotages your self-control. If you're surrounded by distractions, temptations, and negativity, even the strongest willpower crumbles. Build an environment that supports delayed gratification. It either whispers discipline into your ears or constantly tempts you to compromise. His philosophy: the stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. Athletes spend years training in obscurity, sacrificing comfort for the chance to perform on the world stage. Their delayed gratification transforms ordinary talent into extraordinary achievement. Entrepreneurs often reinvest profits instead of spending them early. The discipline to delay gratification builds businesses that last. Greatness never comes overnight. It comes from years of disciplined decisions compounded through time. Building emotional self-control. Self-control is not only about habits and temptations, it is also about emotion. Anger, fear, jealousy. These impulses can derail you as quickly as cravings. Emotional self-control allows you to respond, not react. Practice. Replace reactive language with proactive intention. When you master emotional self-control, you prevent short-term emotions from creating long-term regret. Each time you face a choice between immediate pleasure and long-term reward, write it down. Note the outcome. Did you choose impulse, or did you choose discipline? Reflect on how each choice made you feel. This exercise builds awareness, and awareness is the foundation of change. Closing reflection for Chapter 6. Self-control is the hidden power behind every lasting success. Delayed gratification is the secret weapon that separates those who wish from those who achieve. When you choose discipline over impulse, you are not denying yourself. You are investing in yourself. Each small act of self-control is a deposit into the bank of your future. Remember, comfort now often costs you freedom later, but discipline now gifts you freedom for life. Your destiny does not belong to your cravings, your moods, or your impulses. Your destiny belongs to the disciplined version of you, the one who sees beyond the moment, delays gratification, and commits to the bigger picture. And when self-control becomes your nature, no temptation, no distraction, no obstacle can pull you away from your vision. Chapter 7. Overcoming fear and self-doubt through thought control. Fear, self-doubt, insecurity. These are silent killers of dreams. They creep in at the edges of your mind, whispering lies about your worth, your abilities, your future. And if left unchecked, they sabotage your potential before you even begin. But here's the truth. Fear and self-doubt are not facts. They are feelings, temporary mental states created by thoughts. And thoughts can be mastered. When you learn to take control of your thoughts, you take control of your emotions. And when you master your emotions, you reclaim the power to act with courage, clarity and confidence. This chapter is about rewiring your inner dialogue, so fear no longer paralyzes you and self-doubt no longer defines you. Fear and self-doubt, the root of stagnation. Every human being feels fear. Fear is your brain's survival mechanism. It alerts you to danger. But in today's world, most fear is not physical danger. It's psychological. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of not being enough. Self-doubt is the companion of fear. It tells you what you're not capable. What if you fail? What if others laugh at you? Left unchecked, fear and doubt form invisible chains. You hesitate, you procrastinate, you avoid risks, and little by little, your potential dies quietly inside you. But here's the empowering reality. Fear and self-doubt are created by thoughts, and thoughts can be changed. Thought control, the key to freedom. Your mind is not a passive container. It is an engine. Every thought you allow in either fuels your courage or feeds your fear. If you believe thoughts like "I can't handle this," your brain will shut down. But if you believe "I can figure this out," your brain activates creativity and resilience. Controlling your thoughts is not about suppressing fear. It's about choosing which thoughts to give power to. Imagine your mind as a stage. Fearful thoughts will always appear, but you get to decide which ones take the spotlight. The science of thought and fear. Neuroscience shows that thoughts create chemical reactions in your brain. Negative thoughts release stress hormones like cortisol, tightening your body and limiting your perspective. Positive, empowering thoughts release dopamine and serotonin, expanding creativity and boosting confidence. This is why affirmations, visualization, and reframing work. They literally rewire your brain's pathways. By practicing intentional thought control, you train your mind to respond with courage instead of collapse. Strategies to overcome fear and self-doubt. Name the fear. Fear thrives in the shadows. The moment you name it, it loses power. Write down your fears in clear language. "I'm afraid of failing this project." Once it's written, you can address it with logic instead of emotion. Challenge the thought. Ask yourself, is this fear based on fact or imagination? Most fears are exaggerated stories your mind tells. Replace catastrophic thoughts with realistic ones. Instead of "I'll never succeed," say "I may fail at first, but I'll learn and improve." Shift from outcome to action. Fear grows when you obsess about outcomes you can't control. Instead, focus on actions you can take today. Every small step reduces fear's grip. Use power questions. When self-doubt speaks, ask, "What would I attempt if I knew I couldn't fail? How would the strongest version of me respond right now? What's the best that could happen?" These questions reframe your focus toward possibility. Visualize victory. See yourself succeeding. Imagine walking confidently into the room, finishing the project, crossing the finish line. Visualization primes your nervous system to respond with confidence instead of hesitation. Practice exposure. Avoidance strengthens fear. Exposure weakens it. Start small. Take gradual steps into the things you fear. Each time you face fear, it shrinks. Each time you avoid it, it grows. Reprogramming self-doubt through affirmation. Self-doubt often comes from years of negative conditioning. Voices from your past, telling you you're not enough. To silence them, you must create new voices. Daily affirmations rewire your subconscious. Just as negative self-talk eroded your confidence, positive self-talk rebuilds it. Think about it. Fear often shows up when you're about to expand, when you're stepping into something new, challenging, or meaningful. Instead of saying "I'm afraid," reframe it as "I'm excited." Physiologically, fear and excitement feel the same. Your heart races, adrenaline rises, your senses sharpen. By reframing fear as excitement, you turn paralysis into energy. Real-life examples. Oprah Winfrey grew up facing rejection and hardship, but she refused to internalize self-doubt. She rewired her thinking, built unshakable belief, and created an empire. Athletes and performers often feel fear before big moments, but they channel it into energy by reframing nerves as readiness. Chapter 8. Building unshakable confidence through aligned actions. Confidence is often misunderstood. People think it's something you're born with, like eye color or height. Others think it comes from luck, your recognition, or waiting until the right moment. But here's the reality. Confidence is not a gift. It is a skill. True, unshakable confidence is not about arrogance, pretending to know everything or puffing yourself up. It's about certainty. Certainty that you can trust yourself. Certainty that you can handle challenges. Certainty that you are aligned with your values and your actions. And this confidence is built, brick by brick, through consistent aligned actions. Aligned action means your actions reflect the person you want to be, not just the person you are today. It's living in congruence, your words, thoughts, and behaviors, all pointing in the same direction. If you say you value discipline but repeatedly break promises to yourself, your confidence erodes. But when you commit and follow through, whether it's finishing a workout, keeping a small promise, or completing a project, you signal to your subconscious, I can trust myself. That trust is the foundation of confidence, the fragile house of false confidence. Many people try to fake confidence. They dress the part, speak loudly, or put on a show, but inside, they still feel shaky. Why? Because deep down they know their actions are not aligned. They haven't proven to themselves that they are reliable. Confidence without proof is fragile. It crumbles under pressure. But confidence built on aligned action is unshakable, because it is rooted in reality. You know you've put in the work. You know you've followed through. You know you're prepared. Why? Confidence is an action, not a feeling. This is the paradox. Most people wait until they feel confident before taking action. But confidence doesn't come first. Action creates confidence. Think about learning to drive a car. The first time you felt nervous and uncertain, you didn't wait for confidence. You got behind the wheel. With practice, through repeated aligned actions, confidence grew naturally. The same is true in business, relationships, fitness, or any pursuit. Confidence is built in motion, not in hesitation. The cycle of confidence. Here's how unshakable confidence develops. Action. You take a step forward even if it's small. Evidence. The action produces results, feedback, or progress. Trust. You prove to yourself that you can handle challenges. Confidence. With proof and trust, your belief grows. Then the cycle repeats, each time strengthening the foundation of your confidence. The role of integrity. Unshakable confidence comes from integrity, not just moral integrity, but personal integrity. It means you do what you say you will do. Every broken promise to yourself chips away at confidence. Every kept promise builds it. This is why small habits matter so much. If you tell yourself you'll wake up early and follow through, you gain confidence. If you say you'll work out 3 times a week, and you do it, you gain confidence. Confidence is not built in big flashy moments. It's built in quiet daily discipline, aligning actions with your identity. If you want to build unshakable confidence, you must align your actions with the identity you desire. Ask yourself, who is the person I want to become? Then act in ways that reflect that identity, even before you feel fully ready. For example, if you want to be a disciplined person, start by making your bed each morning without excuses. If you want to be a leader, start by taking responsibility in small group settings. If you want to be confident socially, start by making eye contact and greeting strangers. The action doesn't have to be huge. What matters is that it aligns with the identity you are building. Each action is a vote for the person you are becoming. Facing fear with action. Confidence grows in the presence of fear, not the absence of it. When you take aligned action in spite of fear, you send your subconscious the message, fear does not control me. Think of public speaking. The fear never completely disappears, but with repeated action, your confidence grows until fear no longer dominates. The same applies to any area of life. Your confidence comes from stepping forward, not from waiting. Start small. Something as simple as drinking more water or journaling daily. Each kept promise builds the foundation of trust. The alignment check. Each week ask, do my actions reflect my values? If you value growth, are you reading, learning, or practicing? If you value health, are you fueling your body properly? This check keeps you honest. The 2-minute action. When fear or doubt threatens to paralyze you, take one small action within 2 minutes. Send the email, open the book, do the push-up. Small actions create momentum, and momentum creates confidence. Surround yourself with alignment. Confidence is contagious. When you're around people who take aligned actions, it normalizes discipline and integrity. Seek out those who embody the kind of confidence you want. The difference between real and fragile confidence. Fragile confidence depends on external validation, likes, praise, applause. Real confidence depends on internal validation, the knowledge that you are living in alignment. Fragile confidence collapses when criticized. Real confidence remains steady because it doesn't come from others. It comes from the undeniable evidence of your actions. She built confidence through years of aligned action, showing up, practicing, competing. Her confidence is unshakable because it rests on evidence. Elon Musk faced ridicule and doubt, but his actions aligned with his vision. Every launch, every risk, every project reinforced his self-belief. Everyday examples: a student who studies daily, a parent who shows up consistently, an entrepreneur who keeps promises to customers. Each aligned action builds unshakable confidence. Practical exercise. The aligned action plan. For the next 30 days, commit to 3 aligned actions that reflect the person you want to become. Write them down clearly. Keep them simple but meaningful. For example, wake up 30 minutes earlier to invest in personal growth. Do 20 minutes of exercise daily. Spend 10 minutes each night reviewing goals. Every day you complete these actions, mark them down. At the end of 30 days, review the evidence. You'll notice your confidence has grown because your actions prove your reliability. Closing reflection for Chapter 8. Confidence is not given. It is earned. It is not a personality trait. It is a byproduct of aligned action. When your actions reflect your values, when your behavior matches your identity, when your promises are kept, your confidence becomes unshakable. From this moment forward, stop waiting for confidence. Stop hoping it will magically appear. Instead, build it, action by action, aligned choice by aligned choice. You will walk into every challenge with certainty, not because the world told you you're enough, but because your actions proved it. And that kind of confidence, it's not just strong, it's unstoppable. Chapter 9. Creating unstoppable momentum through consistency and discipline. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in human achievement. It's the invisible energy that takes small efforts and multiplies them, carrying forward faster than you thought possible. Momentum transforms difficult beginnings into effortless progress. Once it builds, it becomes hard to stop, both in success and in failure. The challenge is this: most people never reach the stage of unstoppable momentum because they lack consistency and discipline. They start with enthusiasm, but when the excitement fades, they fall back into old patterns. But if you learn to master consistency, if you train your discipline to carry you through the dull, the difficult and the demanding, you unlock momentum that feels unstoppable. This chapter is about how to build that force, how to sustain it, and how to use it to reshape every part of your life. The power of consistency. Consistency is often underestimated. It doesn't look glamorous. It doesn't always feel exciting, but it is the foundation of momentum. Think of water dripping on stone. A single drop does nothing, but consistent drops over time carve valleys and shape landscapes. Your habits work the same way. What you do consistently shapes the trajectory of your life. Confidence, mastery, and growth are all built on repeated, consistent actions. The athlete trains every day. The writer writes every morning. The leader shows up reliably. Consistency doesn't just create progress, it builds identity. Why discipline fuels momentum. Discipline is the partner of consistency. Without discipline, consistency collapses. Motivation may start you, but discipline sustains you. Motivation is emotional. It rises and falls. Discipline is structural. It holds steady when feelings waver. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you invest in momentum. Each discipline choice, waking up early, keeping a routine, finishing what you started, adds to the energy pushing you forward. Momentum, the compound effect in action. Momentum is really the compound effect applied to human behavior. Small, consistent actions, multiplied over time, create massive results. Reading 10 pages a day doesn't feel like much, but in a year you've read over 3,600 pages, 10 to 15 books. Saving a small amount of money each week doesn't seem significant, but compounded, it grows into wealth. Exercising for 30 minutes daily doesn't change you overnight, but after 6 months, the transformation is undeniable. Momentum begins with tiny actions, but grows into unstoppable force. Breaking through the resistance zone. Most people lose momentum because they quit in what I call the resistance zone, the space between starting something and seeing meaningful results. It's like pushing a car from a stop. The hardest part is the beginning. It feels heavy, progress is slow, and the temptation to give up is strong. But once the car begins to roll, it becomes easier, and soon it moves with momentum. Discipline carries you through the resistance zone. If you endure the slow, heavy beginnings, you'll enter the stage where momentum takes over and carries you forward. If you want to build fitness, start with 10 minutes a day. If you want to grow in discipline, keep one promise to yourself daily. Anchor habits. Link new habits to existing routines. For example, after brushing your teeth, do a short meditation. After morning coffee, read for 10 minutes. Anchoring creates consistency. Track progress. Momentum grows when you see results. Use a journal, checklist, or app to track your habits. Each checkmark is evidence that you are moving forward. Remove friction. Discipline is easier when you eliminate obstacles. Prepare your workout clothes the night before. Keep your workspace clear. Set up your environment, so success requires less effort. Celebrate milestones. Small wins matter. Recognize progress, not just the finish line. This reinforces discipline and strengthens momentum. The discipline formula. Discipline thrives on 3 key practices. Clarity. Know what matters most. Without clarity, you waste energy. Structure. Build routines and systems. Don't rely on willpower alone. Accountability. Hold yourself to standards, or invite others to hold you accountable. Clarity sets the direction, structure builds the path, and accountability keeps you walking it. Just as positive actions build unstoppable progress, negative actions can build unstoppable decline. Skipping one workout doesn't matter, but skipping repeatedly builds the habit of quitting. Ignoring your goals once is harmless, but ignoring them consistently creates backward momentum. This is why discipline matters so much. It protects your progress and ensures that small slips don't snowball into setbacks. When you see yourself as a disciplined person, your actions naturally follow. This identity-based consistency is powerful. For example, when a smoker quits by saying, "I'm trying not to smoke," they still see themselves as a smoker. But when they say, "I'm not a smoker," the identity shifts and the behavior aligns. The same applies to momentum. If you see yourself as someone who always shows up, your actions will align, and your consistency becomes effortless. Stories of momentum in action. Thomas Edison didn't just invent the light bulb. He built momentum through thousands of experiments. His consistency and discipline fueled unstoppable innovation. Kobe Bryant became legendary not just for talent, but for relentless consistency. His discipline to train at 4 a.m. day after day created momentum that carried him to greatness. Everyday examples. A student studying daily instead of cramming. A business owner making consistent customer calls. A person practicing gratitude each night. Each action seems small, but together, they create unstoppable momentum. Body. Exercise for at least 20 minutes daily. Purpose. Spend 30 minutes daily on a meaningful project. Keep a simple log. At the end of 30 days, review not just what you accomplished, but how much easier it became to keep going. You'll notice that momentum made the process smoother, faster, and more natural. Closing reflection for Chapter 9. Momentum is the reward of consistency and discipline. It is the invisible ally that makes hard things feel easier, that carries you forward when willpower fades. But momentum is not built in grand moments. It is built in small daily disciplines. When you train yourself to be consistent, when you choose discipline over comfort, you ignite momentum that feels unstoppable. At first, progress may feel slow, but with persistence, you'll find yourself moving with a force that grows stronger every day. And here is the truth. Once momentum is on your side, success becomes inevitable, because discipline and consistency don't just create habits, they create a life of unstoppable progress. Chapter 10. Living a fully transformed life through lifelong perseverance and never giving up. Every great journey must reach a destination. But here's the secret. In life, the destination is at a single finish line. It is the ongoing commitment to growth, the daily decision to rise, and the unshakable choice to never give up. No matter what stands in your way, this final chapter is not about ending the journey. It's about equipping you to carry the lessons, discipline, and mindset you've developed into every season of your life. It's about becoming the kind of person who perseveres not just in moments of challenge, but as a way of living. The nature of lifelong perseverance. Perseverance is not just a skill to use when life gets tough. It's a philosophy, a way of approaching everything you do. To persevere means you commit fully regardless of how long it takes, regardless of how many obstacles you face, and regardless of whether you feel like it in the moment. When perseverance becomes part of your character, you stop asking, will I succeed, and start declaring, I will not stop until I succeed. Why giving up is the enemy of transformation. Every time you give up on yourself, you reinforce a pattern of defeat. The habit of quitting becomes stronger. The voice of doubt grows louder. But every time you choose to persevere, no matter how small the victory, you reinforce strength. You prove to yourself that you are capable of withstanding adversity. Transformation doesn't come from easy victories. It comes from the battles you refuse to surrender. The legacy of perseverance. Think about the people who inspire the world. Their greatness isn't measured only by what they achieved, but by what they overcame and how long they held on. Nelson Mandela endured 27 years in prison, yet never gave up on the vision of a free South Africa. His perseverance transformed not just his life, but an entire nation. Oprah Winfrey faced poverty, abuse, and rejection, but refused to surrender. Her lifelong perseverance created one of the most influential platforms in the world. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. His response, I have not failed. I've just found 1,000 ways that won't work. That mindset is perseverance in action. Your life may not be played out on such a large stage, but the principle is the same. Perseverance creates transformation that lasts. How perseverance shapes identity. When you make perseverance part of your identity, you no longer define yourself by circumstances. You define yourself by commitment. You stop being controlled by setbacks, and instead use them as fuel. Ask yourself, am I the kind of person who quits when it's hard, or the kind of person who keeps moving until I break through? The answer to that question defines your future. Lifelong habits of perseverance. Keep moving forward, no matter how small the step. Forward is forward. Even on your hardest days, do something that moves you closer to your goals. Redefine failure. See failure not as an ending, but as information. Each setback teaches you what doesn't work, making you wiser, stronger, and better prepared for the next attempt. Master the long game. Life is not a sprint, it's a marathon. Train yourself to think in decades, not days. Perseverance means staying committed, even when the rewards are not immediate. Strengthen your why. When you connect perseverance to a powerful reason, your family, your vision, your legacy, you'll find strength you didn't know you had. Build inner fortitude. Train your mind daily through thought control, gratitude, and focus. Perseverance is easier when your inner world is unshakable. It allows you to bend without breaking, to absorb pressure without collapsing, and to stand tall after every storm. Life will test you. You will face moments of doubt, rejection, and pain. But resilience ensures those moments don't destroy you. They refine you. Each trial becomes training for the next victory. The mindset of a transformed life. To live a fully transformed life, you must embrace a mindset where giving up is not an option. Instead of asking, how do I avoid obstacles? You ask, how do I grow through them? Instead of fearing failure, you embrace it as a teacher. Instead of waiting for motivation, you rely on discipline. This mindset makes you unstoppable, not because challenges disappear, but because you refuse to be stopped by them. A life aligned with perseverance. Living with lifelong perseverance means your actions, values, and vision are in harmony. You become consistent not just for weeks or months, but for years. You train yourself to delay gratification, to build momentum, to stay calm under pressure, and to rise every time you fall. And over time, something extraordinary happens. Perseverance ceases to be something you do. It becomes who you are. Practical exercise. The Perseverance Blueprint. Write your never stop list. List 3 goals or visions that you commit to pursuing no matter how long it takes. This becomes your declaration of perseverance. Plan for obstacles. For each goal, write down the challenges you might face and how you will respond. By planning in advance, you remove the element of surprise. Create a lifelong routine. Identify one habit that aligns with perseverance and make it part of your daily life. Whether it's journaling, exercising, or reading, choose something that reminds you daily that you are building perseverance. Review and reflect. Once a month, review your journey. Ask, where did I persevere? Where did I quit? What did I learn? This reflection keeps you on track. Closing reflection. For Chapter 10, this is not the end of your journey. It is the beginning of a lifelong path. You now have the tools, the mindset, and the discipline to live a fully transformed life. But the key is perseverance, the unwavering commitment to never give up. You will face struggles. You will face setbacks. But now you know these are not signals to stop. They are opportunities to strengthen your character. Remember this. Success is rarely about talent, luck, or timing. It is about persistence. It is about showing up, day after day, refusing to quit, refusing to surrender, refusing to stop. If you make perseverance your way of life, transformation is not just possible, it is inevitable, because the person who never gives up cannot be defeated. So take this truth with you. No matter where you are, no matter how hard it feels, you already have what it takes. Live with resilience, walk with confidence, and persevere until your life reflects the greatness within you. This is your moment. This is your life. And from this point on, giving up is no longer an option. If this audiobook inspired you, don't just stop here. Take action. Like this video to show your support. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss the next powerful release. And most importantly, share this audiobook with someone who needs to hear it today. Remember, transformation doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you commit, when you stay consistent, and when you choose to never give up. This is ReadFlow Audiobooks, and we're here to fuel your growth, your mindset, and your unstoppable journey. Until next time, stay strong, keep pushing, and never, ever quit.